On this week's edition of Titan TV, a school in Frisco ISD has started a new program that is addressing social issues.
And we discover the impact that digital hobbies have on high school students.
These and other stories are up next. Good morning, Centennial. It's Friday, April 20th, and you're watching Titan TV. I'm Catherine.
And I'm Chelsea. Liberty High School has put a new program into action to make the atmosphere a little more friendly. Morgan gets the scoop.
Bullying is an issue across the country. Schools in Frisco ISD have taken action by creating programs to put an end to the problem. At the beginning of the school year, Liberty High School started a new anti-bullying program called Climate Committee.
The Climate Committee is a group of kids that we've assembled. The kids can come, it's open to anybody, as well as teachers. And what happens is the kiddos bring us ideas that they would like to put into place to make Liberty a better place.
A website called postsecret.com inspired a student to start a window of secrets that helps others get a better understanding of their peers.
And basically it's the idea is that you can write down a secret that you feel comfortable sharing, and then we post the secrets. They're anonymous, and then all the students can look at all the secrets that we post, and they can see that they're really not alone in some of their feelings. And then our students posted those up onto a wall that we have in the windows, and the students can go by and look at that wall. And what's really, really neat is that when they look at the wall and they see whether it's a positive thing or a negative thing, they see that they're not alone in their thoughts.
At Centennial, Mr. Spain explains why we don't have an anti-bullying program in place.
Centennial did participate in Rachel's Challenge about 3 years ago. The sponsor at that time was really excited about that. We had a number of really involved students that took a lot away from the Rachel's Challenge presentation we have, and it was a very active program for 1 year.
A student at Centennial shares her views on bullying.
I don't think it's much so at this school. It may be more at home and with the students outside of school with cyberbullying and things like that. But I think we still need to bring awareness to it because it really does affect people, and it really does put a negative effect on this school when things happen like that.
Despite not having a formal anti-bullying program, Stuco is still making an effort to address the problem.
We've had several attempts at anti-bullying. To be quite honest with you, our student council does have an effort, or has made a concerted effort the last 2 years. If you go around our school, you'll see in lots of our hallways on bulletin boards, lots of posters. Those were all actually created by our student council in an effort to address bullying.
I think this would be a great program for every school to have, and what it takes is that main core group of kids, and then it takes some teachers to help sponsor, because the teachers are good advocates for the kids as far as to administration. Administration needs to be there to make sure that everything we do is legal, and if something needs funding.
The Climate Committee has already had a positive influence in the district. Maybe Centennial will broaden our approach in the anti-bullying movement. I'm Morgan Yarnick for Titan TV.
If Centennial started a program like the Climate Committee, it might make a huge difference.
Another thing that is making a huge difference in students' lives are the increasing costs of higher education. Braylon has more.
In the economic climate that has developed since the recent recession, it is becoming more evident that a college education is increasingly important to those wanting a career in the future. However, college prices have been rising sharply since as far back as the early 90s. How is this affecting students here at Centennial, as well as around America? It's somewhat common knowledge that college is an expensive investment, though the rise in costs over the past few decades has been steeper than you might realize. Compared to the overall inflation rate in the United States, which increased about 115% from 1985 to 2011, the college education inflation rate has increased about 500% within the same time frame. Here's a graph of the estimated annual tuition rates at some Texas schools. As you can see, higher education is not cheap, and keep in mind that this doesn't include many other fees that go along with going to college. I spoke to some Centennial students about how the economy, as well as the rising cost of tuition, have affected their college choices.
And I come from a poor family, so The whole college thing, like the real tuition, is kind of an issue because my mom wants me to go to a really good college. So we've been talking about maybe going to a community college for a few years and getting a scholarship through there and then transferring.
It's really made me focus more, I guess, because I have to know how much money I have and can afford to go to a certain college.
In graduating college with that much debt, it really narrows down your search to places that are a lot closer to home.
I also spoke to Mrs. Claire about what students can do to find financial aid.
I think the best starting place is to file the FAFSA. It stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. It's a centralized location that all students can apply to, goes to a federal agency who then looks at the information and sends that information down to the colleges. You can apply for that and get loans or grants or work-study programs through FAFSA. A loan is something you're going to pay back. A grant is free money that you don't have to pay back. And then work-study might be something like you work in the school's cafeteria, and in exchange for that, they'll reduce your tuition. I personally think money shouldn't stop you. And if it is a huge issue for you, there's always our community college system. And that you can take a full year of classes for a couple of $1,000s at the community college. And everyone can work enough to come up with a couple of $1,000s and go to school and work and pay your way through those first 2 years. Then you could rely on maybe some loans to get you through those last 2 years, which you could pay back more easily than trying to pay back the loans for, a 4-year program.
Don't let the cost of college keep you from going. There are many options for those who can't afford it. I'm Braylon Beckton, Titan TV.
It's reassuring to know that there are many options on ways to pay for college.
Although college can be costly, we should be thankful to have the chance to go. Kids in the third world countries rarely get to experience the benefits that come with furthering their education.
It's plain fact. The average high school American teenager complains about everything, school and everyday life. But the truth is we all take a lot for granted. I took the time to talk to a family that comes from a lot less. Two of our very own Centennial students, Jean and Jacqueline, grew up in Rwanda, an occasionally dangerous country in Africa. They spent part of their lives in an orphanage while their mother was in America and helped raise their 5 younger brothers and sisters until their mother made enough money to bring them all here. In Rwanda, they lived without many things that we take for granted every day. Here in America, we all eat anything and everything we want at the press of a microwave button. But in Rwanda, that's not exactly the case. Gloria explained the difficulties of finding food and making food in Rwanda.
When an African, when you cook, you have to make like trees and cut it and put it down. But American, you don't have to do anything, just click and open.
Espa, the youngest of the family, told me that his favorite foods are popcorn, cake, pizza, cookies, and marshmallows, none of which he had ever seen or tasted until he moved to America. Here in America and at Centennial, we all have the chance to go to school, have a higher education, and have many job opportunities. In Rwanda, these opportunities are scarce.
Not that my country is it's different from here. I moved here. I was so surprised for me, like school is so nice. It's so different from my country.
My favorite thing about American is like their schools keep going, but it doesn't stop like 2 weeks. I like American because they have you can get phone when you stay 9 or 10.
Jean, Jacqueline, and their family moved here mainly because of the dangers in Rwanda.
I went to school, and after I went to school, and then car bumped me, and after car bumped me, and then I go to school back, and then they get tree, and then they take off the tree, and then they hurt me on my body.
Christian and Espa had to walk to school by themselves, even though they were young, and yes, Christian was hit by a car. I asked Pierre what his favorite thing about America is that they didn't have in Rwanda.
Video games.
Yes, that's right. There are no video games in Rwanda. So the next time you're complaining about your homework or that last piece of cake you didn't get, just remember, we have a lot to be thankful for.
Here in the United States, we take some forms of our entertainment for granted.
And technology has sparked a distraction among high school students. Danny uncovers more.
Mass Effect 3,
Bioshock, Pokemon, and Minecraft. Skyrim.
These are just a few games that students enjoy in their free time. However, the evolution of games has caused players to constantly be connected to them in order to get their full experience.
Video games and downloadable content can pull students away from other things that should be a priority and should be important in their life. Things like school, schoolwork, family, maybe even belonging to outside clubs or groups where students would get interaction, socialization, learn morals, learn guidance, learn standards. They're sometimes pulled away from those things by video games and downloadable content.
Today, online gaming offers services for downloadable content, or DLC, that requires the constant attention of students, and the hours spent gaming just increase.
Expansion packs can be a way of expanding the functionality of an existing game, so you go out there, you spend your money, you buy a game that you really like. And by going out there and expanding maybe the world in which they do, or some of the properties in which you can play the game with, it allows you to go further and deeper into the game without necessarily having to go out and buy the media, the DVD or the CD or whatever it came on or that you downloaded. So you may be able to save some money but be able to use your existing games in a more in-depth way.
Having this as a hobby is great, but how often do students play?
I probably play it like 8 hours, 8.5 a week.
I don't know, maybe 5, 6, 7 hours a day.
A game for 2 hours each day.
I don't play a lot of games anymore, but I play usually around 2 and 3 hours. 26, 27 hours per week.
Some students are really serious about gaming though. Luckily for them, FISD offers classes in video game design.
If you take my computer science class or my AP computer science class, we get into gaming during the last 6 weeks as an attempt to at least give you some exposure and let you try writing your own games. But if you go out into the Cates Center, we have a video game design class. We also have a mobile applications programming class, which they might do some gaming in there too. So there's lots of different opportunities to get involved with the gaming if that's what is of interest to you.
So if this is your thing, pursue it, but remember to unplug every once in a while.
Good grades come from hard work. Make sure you have your priorities straight.
Hi Titans, I'm Blake with your weekly sports update. In Titan baseball, last Friday, Titans fought hard but lost to Wakeland 4-2 in the end. And on Tuesday, they hit home with Frisco with a score of 4-0. Join us at Centennial Baseball Field Friday, April 20th at 7:30 to support your fellow Titans against Newman Smith. Now to our Lady Titans with softball. On Saturday, we took on Frisco High School, but in the end, we were not successful with a score of 9-14. On Tuesday, April 17th, we struck out Newman Smith with an outstanding score of 14-1. Join us Friday night, 7 o'clock at Heritage and support your Lady Titans. Wednesday night, students took on the faculty in an annual basketball game.
On Wednesday, April 18th, students and teachers went head-to-head in the Students vs. Teachers Nothing But Nets game in order to raise awareness for the Nothing But Nets Foundation, a nonprofit organization whose mission statement is to be a global grassroots campaign to save lives by preventing malaria, a leading killer of children within Africa. The teachers won in a close game, 69-67. But more importantly than the score, Centennial raised over $200 for the foundation to help save lives. Now back to you, Blake.
CHS Tennis competed in district tournaments last weekend. Brianna Root and Griffin Wancam placed third in mixed doubles. Jacob Vandershans and Reagan O'Connor placed first in boys doubles. BJ Pharmacus placed fourth in boys singles. Juliana Hess placed fourth in girls singles. The boys team took second place overall in district. They competed in regionals yesterday. We will have those updates on our next broadcast. Recently, more of our Titan athletes made college commitments, including Bryant Rucker, Matt Holmes, Phil Singleton, Parker Lambert, and Nick Bush. Congratulations, Titans. Your future is bright. That's it for this week's sports update. Now back to you, Catherine and Chelsea.
Thanks for watching this week's edition of Titan TV.
Have a great weekend.